Evening and to everybody. Welcome to another night of a webinar for our approved teachers. It's my pleasure tonight to introduce you to Rebecca Reid. For a lot of you, we have seen Rebecca at accreditations and doing a lot of speech work across the country. So we're really pleased to have you here. But what Rebecca has got skills in, and she's been able to develop, as a PR company that works with businesses. And she is going to let us have an insight into how we can pitch our work, possibly to board of governors, trustees, local communities, in order to get the best deal for ourselves as teachers and educators. So welcome, Rebecca. We'll leave it to you. And welcome.
Wonderful, thank you. Kia ora, everyone. It's great to be here this evening to have a conversation with you about how to build and boost your speech and drama business. One of the things I thought it would be good to... Sorry, is there feedback on this? I feel like I've got feedback. Maybe everyone mute their...
Yeah, I think it might be somebody else's. So I'm just going to mute everybody if you don't mind. And so that will mean that you need to unmute yourself if you're asking a question at the Q&A time. So just so that we don't get feedback on Rebecca during the presentation. Thank you, everybody.
Great, thanks so much. So I thought I'll just run through what I want to talk about tonight in the presentation. And I thought it'd be important to touch on my own experience and background in media and PR. Then have a look at the New Zealand media landscape, which has evolved a lot, especially recently, and how to get yourself online and visible, how to contact and be proactive with media engagement to boost your own PR itself, and also some final tips and takeaways that you might want to take away with you following this presentation. So first of all, in terms of my own background, I actually cut my teeth in broadcast journalism and radio. That was my first career. And I worked, my first job was working at Radio New Zealand, our public broadcaster. And then I went on to work for MediaWorks, which is a major commercial radio station throughout the country. I was based in the head office in Auckland and wrote a lot of news stories that went out and fed to a lot of the commercial radio station channels such as Solid Gold, the Edge, the Breeze, and all those types of stations that people sort of hear on the radio when they're listening in their cars or anywhere and at home. And then after that, I decided to go to do my OE in the UK and got my first job working at BBC, and also worked and this was as a journalist, and it was also at ITN News. And then after that journalism stint, which I really enjoyed, I decided to move into public relations to get some more experience. And people say it's the dark side, but it really isn't the dark side. It's really, really fascinating. And I worked at BBC Press Office. I worked at Transport for London, dealing with major crises, anything from snowstorms to, strikes, to Boris Johnson, who was the Mayor of London then, turning up and having to do photo calls with him. So very exciting, very fast-paced, huge hours, but that real buzz of working in that press office environment. And then when I came back to New Zealand, I worked for a big PR consultancy called Sweeney Vesti, and that was really high pressure because I was dealing with not just one organization, but I was doing PR for a range of different businesses and clients, but having to deal with budgets and invoices and working to a set budget for these clients, and the pressure was to get these clients profiled in the media, also deal with any sort of negative press as well, and that sort of damage mitigation. So it was really, it was basically, if I didn't have that experience, I wouldn't have really been out to go out on my own, and found Ariba PR and Communications, which I did when my oldest child was born 14 years ago. And that suited with our lifestyle as a family because there were huge hours at the big consultancy that I worked for. So and I still work there now. So obviously that's my business, Ariba PR and Communications. And I do a range of PR for big organisations, arts events, charitable trusts, small businesses, startups, a whole range. Currently, I'm doing the PR for the Wellington Jazz Festival, which is coming up. I'm going to be doing the PR for the Aotearoa New Zealand Festival of the Arts. I'm doing some PR for Prime Property Group, which own Reading Cinema, and they're doing that up. So it's really exciting for Wellington. And even some iwi organisations, educational and charitable. So it's really varied. And the whole goal of what I do as a business is to get my clients positive exposure in the media and deal with any, I guess, risk or negative media that may come their way, but it's mainly proactive. So what I feel has really helped me with my PR is being a journalist, because that really, having that news sense, understanding how journalists work and how the newsrooms operate is really, really key. Because if you don't, if I want to try and sell a story or sell a client, I need to have it has to be a good story. Journalists aren't interested in anything that's just an advert or fluffy news. So having that kind of sense of, oh yeah, I think this is a great story, journalists will love this, that has been really helpful, having that experience as a journalist myself. And then 5 years ago, I got the opportunity to work as a speech and drama teacher. And right then and there, I decided to create another business called Ariba Speech Limited. So that was separate from my Ariba PR and communications. And then on there, you've got my different logos, different branding, because they are separate organisations, businesses. Now, in terms of actually the current New Zealand media environment, I thought it's really important to talk about this because it's crucial to how you might want to get yourself out there if you are interested. So it is dominated by some big players, and these big players, they pretty much own a lot of media platforms. One of them is NZME, which is New Zealand Entertainment Media, and they own New Zealand Herald. They also own a whole lot of regional newspapers like Hawke's Bay Today, Taranaki Daily News, Whanganui Chronicle, and they own the radio network, which is News Talk ZB, and Classic Hits and The Breeze. So huge, a lot of media. They have a relationship with One News as well, which is a state-owned enterprise, and RNZ. So there is this kind of relationship thing happening, as well as Stuff, which is massive. So Stuff own, they're the big online news platform, but they also own a whole lot of newspapers like The Press, which is Wellington's major metropolitan newspaper. Sorry, not The Press, The Post, sorry. The Press, which is in Christchurch, Sunday Star Times, and a whole lot of other regional papers. And they've just recently bought Trade Me, and when 3 News folded online, that they bought it online. So they have a lot of ownership. And you might think, well, this is pretty hard. It's pretty hard because there's also been a lot of media that have folded. A lot of these regional and community-based newspapers, they have closed, which is really sad. But on a positive, because these guys own such a lot, have such influence, there's really good opportunity to syndicate your stories. For example, just recently, I pitched a story to the Hawke's Bay Today for a client of mine about a 72-year-old woman who had been living in a shed in Wairoa, and because she lost her home due to the flooding, Cyclone Gabrielle, and another woman who had to move 14 times in 2 years because she lost her home as well to flooding. And my client, which is a iwi called Tato o Te Wairoa, they had been doing this amazing work in the region, and they had built this housing development for people that were really struggling to find good, safe, secure, warm homes. And this development, these 2 wahine managed to get a home basically through my client. I pitched this story, which was a bit of a tearjerker because it's really human interest. The Hawke's Bay Today picked it up. Then, because the story was really good, it also got onto New Zealand Herald. Then One News saw it, and they ran it online, and then Radio New Zealand. So what I'm trying to tell you is if you've got a really good story to tell, there's really good opportunity for it to be spread across a whole lot of different outlets because it's owned by one organisation. The other thing that's really important to note is journalists are really time and resource poor. They really thin on the ground. There's not many journalists left. So if you approach them and you say, hey, I've got a really good story, or how about I write a contributing article, and if it's good and it's got legs, then they will probably most likely run it because they want to fill their pages. They want content for online. And this is really, really important to know. If you've got good imagery, you've got a good interviewee subject, or you've got something really important and good to tell, they will take that and it's free. It doesn't cost you anything apart from your time, and they'll run it. And not only that, but it's basically control in terms of if you're writing an article, an opinion piece, there's no surprises because you know what's going to be printed. So it's a really good way to get yourself out there. I do it for a lot of my clients. News is very immediate, which is really great in this day and age. Everything now is online. I used to love working in radio because it was so immediate over TV. I used to love just the fact that you could just go live on air, breaking news. Well, now we've got this with all our online news platforms. I thought it was really important to talk about the difference between editorial versus advertorial, just because some people can get confused. Editorial is pretty much what it is. It's unpaid media. So it's pitching a story to a journalist, which a journalist writes. The journalist gets paid by their employer, and it gets in the media, which means in a way you can't control, apart from the contributing articles, what the journalist is going to write about. So that's the only, I guess, downside in a way. But it's credible. It has authenticity because it's written by someone with no kind of agenda. Where if it's an advertorial, that costs a lot of money, and it's not as credible because people think, oh, of course you're going to say that or write that because you've paid for it. If you think of Kia Ora magazine, when you're in the plane, sometimes you see these a full page taken out, and often it's from a car company or a bank, and it might be, look at us, ASB, we're great. They've written this article about how they're planting a whole lot of trees, and at the bottom it will be sponsored article, okay, which means they've paid $10,000 or whatever it costs to put that one page advert in Kia Ora magazine. So when you're reading it, you're like, oh, wow, aren't they amazing? And then you think, hold a minute, this is an advert. Of course they're going to say that. So that's why editorial is really, really powerful. The other thing about relationships with media, they are key. This is my IP. This is why I think I've built up a rapport and I get people coming to me to do their PR, because I know what journalists to approach. I know who the education reporter is. I know who the arts reporter is. I know what they're into, what they like, how to deal with them. I make an effort. I might go and meet them for a coffee, or I might just pick up the phone, have a conversation. How are you? What are you up to? But then I know those ones that don't want to have big, long conversations. Keep it short and sweet. Those that want to chat. So it's kind of getting to know them and having a feel and being genuine. It's really, really important, especially in New Zealand. Everybody knows everybody. And journalists move as well to other organisations. So you can't, even sometimes you get really mad and you think, oh, I wish I could have a go at this journalist. You can't, because you're probably going to have to speak to them again. So you just have to sort of suck it up in a way, and it will work out. And they might move to a different platform. So you're like, oh. So that's what I've found. There are some really interesting and important tactical approaches to getting yourself, your organisation in the media. Simple press release can be great. A one-on-one interview, an op-ed, opinion piece, a contributing article, or some really good photo opportunities. Now, in terms of one thing that's really important if you're wanting to grow your business, and actually what I was going to say here is, before I even started, was that some people might be like, oh, I really want to build my business. I want to get more clients, or I want to expand what I'm offering. That's great. And some might be like, actually, I'm quite happy with my numbers of my students or my clients. I don't want to actually build my business. But the thing is, regardless of the fact if you don't want to, in this day and age, you need to, if you want to maintain your current client base, maintain your students, you need to be having you need to be basically doing PR and building your brand, because people are now making decisions about where they want to spend their money. Especially parents, some are thinking, oh, times are a bit tough. Should I be spending money on my daughter's or son's music lessons or sports or speech and drama? Or the same with businesses as well. Where should I be putting my dollars? So you need to make sure that you are keeping them satisfied and happy. So I thought that was really important to note. So a thing is, with in terms of your own brand, it's really important to try and to be online, because this is where everything is. You need to claim your digital space. So if I have a client coming to me, for instance, saying, oh, I've got this we're launching this great new product, or opening a new store, or anything, and they come to me and I say, great, where's your website? Or where's your social media platform? Oh, we don't have one yet. Well, I'll say, well, go away and build your website, get yourself on social media platforms, because there's no point me promoting you in the media if nobody can actually find you online afterwards. And so basically what I'm saying is, there are some really simple free things that you can be doing. Don't take too much time and effort to get yourself visible online. Things like having a Facebook page or Instagram page, that's free to set up, completely and totally free. Doesn't cost any money. What you need to do is put a photo of yourself, or of a logo that you may have got someone to create or you created yourself, and then making sure that you are always trying to encourage some posts on there as well, and update. I can tell you more about that later, how to do that. LinkedIn profile, again, this is free and it's easy, and it's just setting up a profile page, and on that having a photo of yourself. It's pretty much a CV. So your experience, qualifications, volunteer experience, and these people can also put down reviews on yourself as well. They can give you sort of testimonials. And what's really cool about LinkedIn is that you can actually do your own posts as well. So you can create posts to kind of to build engagement. You can like other people's posts and comment, if people can comment on yours. For example, I might see an article on Radio New Zealand about oral communication delay. A new research has come out saying, because of COVID, young people at primary school have oral delay. Or AI, how's it going to impact our public speaking in the future? Or one of those types of articles that might be relevant to speech and drama, or to what I'm my business. So I just get that link of that article, put it on a post, and I might write an introduction of feedback. Oh, interesting article on Radio New Zealand today. This is why it's so important to invest in speech and drama lessons, or something of that kind. And then you're sharing that, and then people might like and comment on it, and it builds up engagement. It's just very, very simple. Or you could write a blog or post and put it up there. Or you could be at a play or at a conference, or emceeing something, and you can have a photo of yourself and say, really great experience being an MC at this event, or being a speaker at this event, and tagging different people, and then people comment, and it just builds up this kind of engagement on LinkedIn. And another thing is a website. It doesn't have to be flash. It can just be a landing page. You can, if you don't know how to set up a website and it's a bit too hard, there are some really easy, straightforward platforms. But if it's too much and you're like, I don't have time for this, there are students out there I know that would do it, and they would do it for very little, or even just to build their own portfolio, because they're trying to get work. I did that for my websites. Mine are very simple. It has about me, what services I offer. It's got some testimonials that I've managed to get from some clients and students, and how to get hold of me. And there's an area there where I can put in some client case studies and things like that. So you can actually do it's really straightforward. These online platforms, they're really useful. They give us free and powerful tools. And what I've noticed is a lot of people these days, that's where they find you. We don't have the yellow pages. No one's looking at the big yellow books anymore. I have parents emailing me saying, oh, I found you online. Can you please teach my my son or my daughter, I'm really needing a Zoom. Can we do it by Zoom, or can I do it in person, or where are you? I really love you to be the teacher, because they've found me and searched me online. Look, if I need a plumber for an emergency, I'm going to go online and I'm going to search for plumbers. I might go on Facebook and say anonymous post under the Lower Hutt community who recommend a plumber, and then people might say, don't go to this person or go to this person, and you get recommendations. You see reviews about who's good and who's not good. So this is where everyone is getting all their information and services. Now, this is some things we can do online. Well, what can we do? Well, we can look at the positives. So we can look at success stories of students. So with permission, you can get a photo of students that may have completed their diplomas and say, I'm really proud of Sandra and Linda for achieving their associate diploma in performance. They've worked really hard. Lovely photo of you with your certificates. You could be putting up some reviews, like I've got one up there that I've got from my website. You can use this one review on your social media. You can use it in your LinkedIn. You can use it on your website. You don't need too many, but you can gather those reviews. Look at the positive exam results. You might be doing a drama night or production at school. Take a photo, put it up on Facebook, on your social media, or on your website. So there's some really, really good success stories. Sandra's gone on and she's now working for United Nations or in Parliament or doing whatever. She's amazing. I'm so proud of her. And then these parents look at it and go, wow, I'm so pleased that we spent our money on Sandra. Or other parents might go, gosh, I want my daughter to be like her, because look how far she's come. This is why it's so important to invest your money on speech and drama or public speaking lessons. So that's what I find. You can really get a lot out of that, and it doesn't actually take a lot of time and effort. Now, if you're thinking, okay, that's my online, that's great. How am I meant to kind of get into the schools or build my business? Well, you need to be proactive. So you can't just sit there waiting for someone to contact you, because yes, some do, but some often they wouldn't know about you. So you need to go out there and show yourself. So contact your local school, arrange to meet the principal in person, and have a conversation about your services, how you work, you operate. Face-to-face is absolutely ideal. Then if it might be a case of, well, actually, I don't want to teach in a school. I just want to tell them about that I can teach at home. Okay, that I just want to do at home after school services. Well, that's great. So you can ask them, can I please leave some flyers in the school offices or in the halls or in staff rooms about myself, or better yet, all the school newsletters now are online. They're digital. They're sent out to parents, to hundreds and hundreds of parents, okay? And in that newsletter, at the very bottom of it, it often has a bit of an advert section. Now, it could be art classes after school, or it could be after school care, or whatever's happening, and you can actually put in an advert of your services. Now, I don't think it costs a lot of, I don't think it costs anything. I haven't actually inquired about that particular, I haven't done that yet, but if it does, it'd be very, very minimal because it's a school. Okay, so that's a really good way of getting yourself out there. Also, offer your services. Contact the school and say, look, would you like me to judge your English speeches, or MC a charitable event, or help out in a production? And there are many ways to kind of get yourself out there and build your own reputation and publicity, really, in a way, by actually being really proactive with those schools. Other ways to get out there outside of the school system is actually engaging with the local media. Now, there's a story. This is actually an example here. So this was not me actually going out there promoting myself, by the way. I don't want to tell you that. I was talking to a journalist that I actually talk to a lot, Nicholas Boyack. He saw a post of mine on Facebook Now this is interesting. And I was really excited. I basically put a post up on Facebook saying, really, really honoured to have won the Deirdre Seddon Scholarship. All my London friends, I'm going to be in London this time. I'd love to catch up. I forgot he was actually a friend of mine. He saw that post. He contacted me the next day and he said, I hear about this, you winning a scholarship. And I said, oh, how did you? And I was quite embarrassed. I didn't want to go out and sort of profile myself, and because I just thought, oh, that's a bit awkward. But I thought, he said, I really want to do a story on it. And I thought, actually, this is actually really good for Speech NZ. This is really good for speech and drama teachers because it shows them the opportunities that they can get from working in this industry. And I thought, yes, absolutely, I'll do the interview. So he interviewed me, the PR person. I was a bit nervous, to be honest. And the story, they sent a photographer along to my class at St. Torrens. And actually, that's my daughter on the far left. It's quite funny. In her class. And they took a photo. And that was actually for the Post newspaper, which is the Creative Capital slide. And then again, because it's owned by Stuff, it got syndicated into the front page of the Hut News. So that's an example of one story. It went on the Hut News website. It went on the Hut News newspaper. It went on the Post website and in the Post newspaper. Just by that. And then I think because the Education Review Office, they run the Education Gazette magazine, saw the article, they contacted me and did a story. So that's just an example of kind of getting yourself PR just because the flow on effect of getting a story and one particular story. So that's an example. So in terms of how do I get myself or my business or my organization or whatever it is out there in the media, well, it has to be newsworthy. It has to be, you have to think, why should I care or why should a member of the public care about reading the story? So things that are new, are interesting, student wins, awards, milestones, success stories that are quite topical currently. So it could be to do with AI, public speaking. It could be research that's come out, stats or data. It could be your own point of view or opinion as being a professional educator and communicator throughout your life about what you've noticed and trends. So it's worth giving it a shot, and it's worth pitching a story to the editor that looks after opinion pieces, or to a journalist that's in education, for example, or arts or youth, and saying, look, I've got this idea, what do you think? Because if you don't ask, you don't know what to get, and chances are they would be probably quite interested. They're always looking for stories. So some tips and ideas about how to get your story in the media. So you need to kind of think, okay, who am I approaching? And I need to make sure I tailor my pitch to their needs. Now, journalists get hundreds of emails, probably thousands actually in their inbox. So if you don't, you need to be proactive, you need to follow up. I always give a phone call. If I can't answer sometimes I can send an email to some journalists who I know don't like speaking on the phone. But if they don't like it, if they don't mind a conversation, I'll pick up the phone call, say, hi, it's Rebecca here. Hey, look, I've got a really good story idea for you. Just wanted to run it by you for like 30 seconds. Haven't got much time because they're under the pump. They don't want to hear you go on for 15 minutes. So you've got to get to the point. And they'll be like, oh, yes, that sounds great. Can you send me an email? And I've already got the email written. It's all ready to go because I've been prepared, and then I send it through to them. So making that phone call is really good. Having those proof points written down, it's what I do. So I write down my key points. So when I'm speaking to them on the phone, if I'm nervous, I know what I'm going to say. I've got that as a backup. A media release, that's really important for general announcement. And journalists like that, keep it to a page and a half. And yes, keep following up because they get busy, they can forget. You need to be quite persistent. And you really need to think about, beyond that journalist, like who are you trying to target? Are you trying to target professionals, business owners? Are you trying to target youth, parents? So you need to put yourselves in their shoes and think, why should they be interested in this particular opinion piece? Is it an advice piece? Is it got some tips? I'm trying to get them to come to me. So use language and the style that they would actually relate to. I think I read somewhere that the average reading age is 11 or something like that. So you don't want to have all this jargon and make it complicated. Keep it really simple. Same with journalists. They don't want all this. You need to keep it in very much basic, simple terms. Timing's really keen. Think about the media deadlines. Think about what they need. If they say, look, that's great, would love a contributing article, 600 words by next Friday, make sure that you deliver that on time, okay? So, basically just to kind of recap, what I think is really important, you don't have to do this all overnight, but the key things are having that social media presence, getting a Facebook page set up, getting some Google reviews, getting them from parents, clients, students, whoever, friends, colleagues is really helpful. Anyone that can really write something positive about you. Having a website or landing page, which the landing page is key. Again, you can do this. There's so many free things online that you can do it, really easy steps, or get a student that is in the design, digital side of things, set it up for you. Contact your local schools, be proactive, showcase all those positive student stories or client stories. Contact the media if you've got something really good to say and you want to get it out there. And just back yourself, because like I said, if you don't know, basically people don't know about you if you don't let them know, if that makes any sense. So you need to really get yourself out there, be positive and back yourself. And I hope that helps. And this is now I can do a Q&A if you want to ask me any questions.
I have a question.
Hi, Josephine.
Hi, Rebecca. That was great. This is silly, and it comes from an older person. When we were brought up, we were told not to be tall poppies and show off about ourselves and blah blah about ourselves. Do you identify with that, older people?
Oh, yes. Look.
Yes, and does it? You don't want to seem like you're bragging, but the way people think, they don't think that, do they, anymore?
No. And this is why I was cringing about this journalist doing this article on myself. Oh God, because to me, my job is to get people in the media. I'm the background person. I like to do this for other people. But then I was like, I looked beyond myself and thought,
Yes.
hold a minute. This is actually, I'm doing this for the industry. I'm doing this for Deirdre Seddon Scholarship. I'm doing this for the teachers to say, hey, look, this is actually a great career opportunity. Look at the opportunities out there that you can get. So, and I was doing it for Speech NZ because speech and drama teaching. So I had to that's how I kind of angled it my way. And when I was talking to journalists, I was talking all about the benefits and what it's meant to me and how it's helped me in the industry, as opposed to I'm so amazing, aren't I great? It wasn't like that. And it's cringy. Sometimes I go on LinkedIn and I just cringe at other people's things, but I realize that we are living in a day and age where if you don't get yourself out there, you're not going to get any business or any work. There are ways around it that you can do without sort of blowing your own trumpet, like advice pieces are really good, tips and things like that, because it's actually you're actually giving your advice from your own experience without, and it's not like an advert. Look at I'm amazing. It's sort of giving you a state of the nation, what's actually going on in the industry. Hey, by the way, this is what I found's really worked and helped. Does that help?
No, that's good. And my second question, another silly one, where did the name Ariba come from?
Oh, yes, well, I used to when I was younger, I just started going Arriba, and when I was like really excited, and then I looked it up, and it means on the up, go go go. In Spanish.
Oh, really?
Yes,
How
and
lovely.
I thought actually it is. It's like, and it's basically like giving my clients that, giving them on the up, giving them the expression of you can do this, boosting their profile, raising the bar above it. So that's kind of how it was a high energy kind of name. That's what I wanted.
Fantastic.
For my company. So I thought I'll keep it consistent with speech as well, Ariba speech. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Pauline had her hand up for something. Pauline? Hello? She's gone. Oh no, she's on mute.
I was going to ask you about the Ariba. I had thought that perhaps the 2 R's in the middle was something to do with Rebecca Reed, but obviously not.
No, but actually that's the first time someone's pointed that out.
Okay.
No, I didn't, but it is interesting because at first I thought, oh, maybe I should just call it Reed Communications or Rebecca Reed Communicate. I thought that's a bit boring. It's not really me. So and it's worked, and people are identifying now with Ariba that it's actually my organisation, and it's been fine so far.
Great, thank you.
Yes, Linda.
You'll have to unmute yourself, Linda. Should be a microphone at the bottom left of your screen.
That's it. Ariba is actually Spanish.
Yes. What did I say it was?
You didn't.
Oh, right. Yes. Yes. It is Spanish. It is 100% Spanish. That's right. Yeah. And there is another organisation called Ariba PR, but they were based in Houston. So I had to look them up and make sure that but they are a different type of, and I thought, oh, hopefully there's no other Aribas in New Zealand. That's one thing as well to note, that if you are thinking of a business name, make sure that you check that there's nothing else that's similar in your industry or in the country, because it can get very confusing.
I'm showing my age now too. There was a song in my teenage years that had Ariba in the end of it several times.
Oh, wow.
And the other thing is Nicholas Boyack, I taught him at Taita College, and believe it or not, I couldn't get a word out of him.
That's amazing. He actually passed away. Did you know that?
No.
Yes, I went to his funeral. Yeah, so he passed away in September last year. So he managed to write some stories. I've been talking to him every week. He's talked to him every week, and it was a sudden death. And lovely, lovely guy. Yeah, so he, I used to. So I was very, very fortunate that he did. I mean, it was really good that he did the story, and that we were able to talk and everything. So. Yeah, no, so I just thought I'd let you know.
Yeah, he talked one-on-one, but to get him to talk in front of the class was just about impossible.
Really?
But he lost his brother when he was 17. His brother died suddenly when he was 17, yeah.
Yeah, he was very proud of coming from Taita College. He used to talk about it a lot, yeah, and write about it. Yes, I thought, you know, I know it's a lower decile school and everything, but there's some really people that have come out and are really good success stories as a result of that. So he was very proud of Taita College.
Yeah.
Rebecca, you talked about like building a brand, and that was something that sort of came to my attention maybe 5 years ago, this idea of building a personal brand. And I found it very sort of obtuse as a topic. Like how would you say people build their brand, or what is it that is a personal brand versus a company brand?
So for example, I think it's really important. People need to know that, for example, I am Ariba. So that is my connection. I do have some people that work for me that do bits and pieces for me, but I guess for not in terms of the brand for Ariba, that is me. I am the front facing of the business. So it is me that you deal with, even though I might have some people doing work for me. It is important that I maintain that relationship with clients, with people. For example, Sweeney Vesti was the company that I first worked for, the big international consultancy, Brian Sweeney and Jane Vesti, so married couple. They were the ones that dealt with the clients. and we were the minions and did the work. So, but they brought in all the clients and the customers because of their brand of who they are. So that's why it's so important that everything that you say and do on social media or on these posts, that they reflect who you are and your values, that you need to know what your values are, and that you maintain that credibility, because you're everywhere, and your reputation is really, really important. So I would turn down clients that if I feel like, look, there's no news story in this, I don't think it's worth it. I'm not going to ever charge somebody any money or do anything for somebody where I feel like you're not going to get anything out of it, because it's my integrity. I can't, or it's not really my belief system or whatever, but and I'll recommend somebody else. But New Zealand's too small, and I have to do a good job. I have to give 150%. If I don't deliver, then I can't relax, because I don't ever want somebody saying, because you hear about these PR companies or people that would just fire off a media release and take the money and not get any coverage for anybody. I couldn't live like that, basically. Same with teaching. I mean, if all my students failed, I'll be, like you just want everyone to do well. Sometimes people don't pass. I mean, I haven't had that yet, but it will happen. And sometimes you feel like, well, that's just them. They didn't do their work, quite frankly. And it's not my fault, because I've done everything I can to get them to this level, but they don't want to do the work that's completely on them. But still, it is my reputation. It is my brand. If everyone was just failing, or if I wasn't getting any media coverage for a client, or not available, that sort of thing. Does that help?
Yeah, you touched on just a moment ago about how important it is to check what you put on social media. And I think that's such a key thing that's come up with younger audiences, as well, as they've sort of grown up with social media and explored it. And now they're sort of thinking about building their business or their independent sort of income. What sort of advice might you give to a young person that's come in through social media as a child, and possibly maybe don't have that professional look from the get-go of how they can personally brand their own, social media, etc., when it's now linked into a business as well?
Yeah, so I mean, my children at the moment, they're not allowed to have social media, just for that actual reason, because I'm quite paranoid about it myself. But I know with, like, in terms of teens and things like that, with parents, a lot of them have, or if you're a good parent, you should have kind of controls over what they are able to see and access. But a lot of them, you encourage them to private accounts. So if they want to do anything personal, well, not anyone can just like them and follow them, but they have to actually accept that that friend, or know that person. You don't want them talking to some randoms. I think it's a conversation with the people, the children and teens, to say, look, actually, you've got to be really smart, because this is going to be around forever. And if you're wanting to get a job, you're going for a position as a teacher, a lawyer, any high profile, they could look back at this from when you were 18 and you did something. I mean, we were lucky. We never had any of that when I was at university, or in my teenage years. Not that I was a crazy person, but we didn't have any of that online visibility, and now it's everywhere. So everyone's got to be so careful about what they say and post, because it could actually really backfire. I think it's just been really having that conversation about, you have to be very careful what you say, what you comment on. Don't be a keyboard warrior. Don't say anything you were going to regret later on. If you want to have a rant about something, just do it in person, at home or whatever, and just be really careful. And then eventually, when you want to build up your profile, just be really careful about what you say. Make it, because realize that is you. That is, you're going to be around forever. It's not, no one can get rid of it. And people can see things and screenshot things and share it.
So in some ways, because obviously it's not teenagers any longer that have started with social media. They're actually in their 20s and 30s and so forth, and starting to think about like what they want to do with their own businesses. So I'm thinking, if you had a profile that, you know, showed your whole life as a young person, and perhaps now you're wanting to build a brand, that might be that point where you go, okay, now it's going to be a private account so people can't find it, but I'll keep my business account as public. And if I need to have a personal account linked to that business, perhaps you need to then have a separate, more business account.
Absolutely. So I have a separate, and I've got this actually here. I can share the screenshot. These are some of my handles. So I've got here my Ariba PR website, my Ariba Speech website, both landing pages. I've got my LinkedIn, which is it's personal, Rebecca Reid, and I've got my Facebook page for Ariba PR as examples. But I have my own personal Facebook page, which I'm not putting stuff on Ariba PR, because people that follow Ariba PR aren't actually might be people that I know personally. So you've got to be quite careful about what you want to say and share. Sometimes you can it depends on how comfortable you are. Some business owners like to kind of show they're real people, and they might do a post about hanging out with the family, or doing something that's involving your personal thing, goals or whatever, in your brand, in your actual business, to show that you're actually a human being, that you might have completed your marathon or done something, or you're out and about in Wellington enjoying Circa Theatre and celebrating the fantastic arts that we have in this country. Hashtag Circa, hashtag Wellington, hashtag arts. So it's like, and you're tagging Circa, so they're like, great, oh, that's a nice boost. Ariba PR's given me a boost, and this person's got a life, and they're doing some supporting the arts. So that's because that's real. It's not just all kind of like, it's not boring. So you often find that there's something that people that are influencers or business owners, they might put a bit of personal touch on it, whatever. But I know that it might seem cringy sometimes to do this, but it is important, and people feel like that's how they connect now. This is how people are connecting. People are connecting on social media. They are connecting, and you can control what you say. My advice: don't get political, don't get involved in any of that stuff, because and remain impartial when it comes to things, because that could backfire, and you've got different clients, and hope that helps.
Thank you. And I also noted that LinkedIn, so I had worked on doing my own LinkedIn profile, but it's something that I think gets overlooked quite a lot in New Zealand, is a very important resource, but I understand it's starting to grow quite significantly as a platform in New Zealand. And taking the time, when I was reviewing mine, I went and looked at different people that I followed or were interested in, and looked at what they'd done, and then tried to formulate something that was similar, or showed the same sort of points that I appreciated them showing, and then created my CV, or my online CV around that, versus like your paper CV, which is a very different sort of beast.
Well, this is the thing, Helena, is people get work and advertise jobs on LinkedIn. We're hiring. We're looking for this person. They tag the people. You find out about jobs. It's a huge, huge platform. Some people are hard out on it. Like, I was thinking, do you actually work? Because every time I go on LinkedIn, when I get a chance, but it's sort of the same sort of people sometimes. But then that's their business, that's their job. They're building up awareness, and you can do simple things like comment on people's posts or like them, and then people comment on yours and like them, then they share it, they repost it, and then you're getting all this traffic and audience. People are looking at you, and people are looking at your profile, and they think they can. And I know people that get headhunted on LinkedIn. So it's something that can't be overlooked. It is like a live CV, and you can add to it and say, I've just got this award, or I'm really honoured, or I've finished this qualification, or I'm starting a new position. Or I've got an opinion about something. It is really vital, and it's free. you can get things like you can upsell and get premium and all of that if you want. I don't, but people can if they really want to get themselves out there. Sometimes you can't see who's viewed your profile. It just says someone's viewed your profile. I think, oh, who could that be? But so it depends. If you get premium, you can actually see. But it's quite funny. Like Big Brother.
I'm going to bring it to an end with
right,
Rebecca.
yes.
So what it did is reminded me very much of my hairdressing days, as you've talked today. I've thought about like rebranding with a new haircut, and you go off somewhere and you want to feel different. So you the first step is to go in, say, I want something different, and really challenge yourself to step over the line. What that creates is and you've talked a lot about that tonight, is how things change and the things you've got to fill in. The next day with a new haircut, it's going to take longer to do the first time. You're going to find this happens and that happens. As you grow into that, all the time mindful of selling yourself. And once you've got your hair and you're feeling comfortable, you're connecting with people, so you're marketing and selling yourself. And then with that, you're also going to places where you can socially use your social media to expand your life and complex. And of course, at the end of it, you're just going to embrace this fabulous new haircut, knowing that you're well prepared to go in life and sell yourself.
It's a great analogy, Sandra. I love it.
So I thought that you had lots of really good advice to do, and in some ways I'm sitting here thinking I wish I was 20 years younger, because that's that's what you need to do. You need to go. What you've said now is where businesses are moving, and if you're not doing this, as we older ones drop off the end, the young ones are going to come in with all these new skills. So yeah. So it's been an absolute
ever moving beast. You've got to. I happen to keep up with all the changes myself from the old journalism days, where I'm carrying these big tape recorders around, and now that it was mini discs, now everyone just uses their iPhone to record. I mean, this is the thing. I feel sometimes I'm in the dark ages, still in the dark ages, but so I have to keep up with it, constantly learning and evolving.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. I thought it was really, really interesting. Thank you.
You're so welcome, Gillian. It's lovely to see you all. I feel very honoured.
Thank you, Rebecca. Really good.
You're welcome, Josephine. Lovely to see you. You lovely, amazing, inspirational woman, actually. You really are. I look up to you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Thank you. Bye.
I missed most of it, but hopefully it'll come through.
Oh yes, you'll send through the link and also all my website links too. Hopefully Helena will send you the video.
That'd be great.
Thank you so much.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
bye.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.